Episode 4 of the Horizon Terminal Podcast.
Yes.
My name is Medic.
And I'm Lamb Chop, and as you can see, Medic is here today in Victoria, Canada. Woohoo! I'm so excited to have him here. We've been away not posting on the podcast for the past 2 weeks because he's been here. And we've been working on a lot of new music that we're so excited to share with you. Mm-hmm. You actually just heard a quick cut at the very beginning there. But yeah, Medic, what brings you to Victoria, Canada?
Oh, well, I guess making music. Mm-hmm. I mean, I live, so as most of you may know, I live in Hong Kong. Right. Aaron lives here in beautiful Victoria. Mm-hmm. And making music is something that we've both found is most effective when we're both in the same place.
Yeah, way easier.
Yeah, and then so with the podcast, we could always do that, when we're apart. So as such, the podcast has sort of taken a back seat during my time here, and we're very excited to be able to tell you guys that we are completed our new 8-track EP. Called Saturn Return.
Saturn Return? Woo. What'd it do?
You don't ask. Well, Saturn Return is an astrological phenomenon where Saturn returns to its original place once every 29 and a half years. Mm-hmm. So just like how on Earth, that is 365 days, for Saturn, a year is 329 and a half Earth years.
Right. So astrologically, what that is supposed to represent is in your life, when you're 29 and a half, that's when you go through a lot of major life changes. Like either maybe what you work, what you do, where you live, the things that are important to you, the things that make you happy. You kind of reevaluate all of that, and you figure out where you want to spend your time, right? Yeah. So that was the central theme for what we've been working on in the past 2 weeks. So what does Saturn Return mean to you?
Well, Saturn Return, I guess it goes back to when I quit my job last year. And
what were you doing?
So I used to work in this corporate job, for those that don't know already from episode 2. So I used to work in this corporate job, and then I started that like 4 or 5 years ago. And at the time, it was something that I thought I really wanted, and I really wanted to get good at. And then I ended up basically devoting all my time to it, and didn't really end up with any sort of balance in my life. And creatively, it was basically non-existent.
Right.
So for those that don't know, I used to be quite regular with making music, and then since my job began, it kind of just had taken a backseat, and then all these ideas and melodies that I would used to have in my head, by the end of it all, it just kind of disappeared. And so the Saturn Return moment, if you will, was sort of the time when I sat down and sort of reassessed what was important to me. And also recognizing that time was is not infinite, and you will realize that by the time you hit 30,
right? And
it's just understanding that, and also recognizing that some of your original motivations going into something in the past, might not, it changes, and you might have to tell yourself that, the uncomfortable truth that you might have been wrong at the time.
Right. Might have been mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's your big Saturn Return moment, was leaving your job, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, mine was leaving Hong Kong. I've been living in Hong Kong, or I lived there for the past 7 years, and I moved back here to Victoria, Canada last year to support my mom through her battle with cancer. And it's been a big transition for me because I spent all of my 20s in Hong Kong building this new career, this new life, and I haven't been here since I was like a kid, back home living here. So it's been a crazy change to, I suppose, gather the motivation and the courage to leave my life behind, everything I had built, for this new unknown life that, you know, I didn't know what to expect coming back here. What was it going to be like? And just rediscovering and rebuilding my whole identity coming back. So that's kind of my Saturn return moment. And even though we lived on such opposite ends of the world, we were experiencing the same thing. And we felt like a lot of people are experiencing something similar to this. And it doesn't have to be like your Saturn return is different, right? From everybody. It doesn't have to be like leaving your job.
Leaving your country.
Yeah, or leaving your country. It's not something that drastic.
Right.
But it is maybe a conversation you have with yourself.
Right.
Where you're just like, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I need something different, right?
Right. It could just be staying the course, or starting a family, something just as simple as that. You know, just
making
planning.
the choice.
Yeah, making the choice.
Making the leap.
And
Right.
just reconsidering your values.
So I think in our EP, the narrative is that the protagonist is going through their Saturn return, and it's the sound of all of that happening. What it's like to both be basically like before the Saturn return, and then during, and then afterwards. What it feels like. And in that context, it could be me, it could be you, it could be anyone, right? But I think eventually we all have to cross that river when we get there.
But it's just quite fitting for us because both of our Saturn return journeys, if you will, have converged into making music. So it's there's pretty much no better way for us to express how this journey, what this journey meant for us,
and what it sounds
EP.
like, what it feels like. So, what besides the EP, what were some other things like that we were up to? I mean, obviously we spent all our time making the album.
Yeah, we actually.
What else did we do?
Yeah, well, I actually really grew to enjoy the workflow that we had. We would wake up pretty late, but then we would get straight into working on the music, and then we would just. Oh, it also involved a lot of coffee. Many coffee runs.
A lot of coffee.
And a lot of car testing.
Wait. Yeah. What's car testing? To the people who don't know what car testing is, what is car testing?
So car testing is this thing you do for people who make music. You would just send the drafts that you've done of your songs to your phone or whatever, play it in the car to see if it sounds good in the car speakers. And a lot of people who make music swear by this because if it doesn't sound good on the car speakers, then you probably need to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, then it sucks. So if it fails the car test, you're not going to release it, right? Yeah. So we'd car test every night from like 9 p.m. to like 2 a.m. We just literally drive in circles.
Yeah, because Victoria is a tiny place.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
And we would just be making the same circles around town.
The same loop. Listening to the same loop,
right? Driving
the same loop,
and having the time of our lives.
Yeah, and having the best time ever. Right. So, we also had a lot of late night Timmy Horton runs. Yeah,
a
lot of donuts. Got us through. A lot of trips to the beach near my house, which is beautiful. Experiencing nature, just being out in the wild. Enjoying the sunshine, and a lot of that I think you'll be able to hear on the album.
For sure.
Anything else you want to add?
I think that's about it. It's just been a great few weeks here. It's beautiful. It's great to live life as a Victorian for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Just got to see how you live, and it's great.
Right on. Well, thank you. And we hope you guys enjoy whatever's coming next, and we'll catch you guys on next week's episode. Peace.